My name is Joanne Dewar. I started this business back in the early 70s. I sold my first poinsettias in 1974. I've been blessed to be able to work here and see the business and family grow.
My name is Susan Rollins. I'm Joanne's daughter, the second generation in the business, and I've been working with these poinsettias since 1974 also.
Hi, my name is Carol. I've worked at Fairview for 43 years, ever since I was 4, maybe 5 years old.
Hello, my name is Marie Pleasance, and I've been at Fairview working with poinsettias and everything else for 38 years now.
Hi, my name is Chance. I'm a grower here at Fairview. I've worked with poinsettias for about 6 years. It's been a great learning experience.
Hi, my name's Carmen, and I'm the novice of the group. This is my first season working with poinsettias at Fairview.
The scientific name for poinsettia is Euphorbia pulcherrima. If I didn't say that correctly, you probably won't know, so I'll be okay. But it's in the Euphorbia family, and there are many different forms of it, and they all look different. This is a rubber plant. This is a diamond frost or Euphorbia. This is one's Lorene, and this is a poinsettia. Euphorbia pulcherrima means the most beautiful euphorbia, which it probably is when it's ready to go.
I first started growing poinsettias in a homemade greenhouse here on the property, and I bought the first cuttings and plants that we had from a grower in the western part of the state. I learned right away a lot of things and techniques from the professors at North Carolina State University in the horticulture department that were very good helpers in all the knowledge that I needed, in most of the knowledge that I needed to grow poinsettia. Back in those days, the poinsettias were long and leggy, and it was really hard to control them. We didn't have the equipment then that we do now in order to keep them under control.
Poinsettias grow naturally as a very tall plant, and you have to apply growth regulators to keep the height on them regulated, or they'd probably be 6 feet tall and falling over.
Also have to control the heat at night, and the day temperature needs to be cooler than the night temperature in order to help them to stay at the right height and quality.
Started out when I first came here, they would cut the cuttings from outside and bring them in. We'd stick them in oases and do different things with them, and then we started bringing them in ready-made in regular sized pots and all after that.
Back in the early years when we first started doing poinsettias, we used to get all of our unrooted cuttings in April. So the crop would be from April till December. We would root the first cuttings, and then we would grow our stock plants, and then we would take the cuttings. And a few of the plant brokers came and asked us if we would do cuttings and sell them and ship them across the country. So we decided to try that venture. So we grew several thousand stock plants, and every day we would get up and take cuttings in the field. We grew them outside under a big shade cloth, and we had a crew in the greenhouse to stick the cuttings and also a crew out in the fields. We'd have to start real early because it was summertime taking the cuttings then, and we'd get started early. And my dad made a deal with the little lady across the street to make us all homemade biscuits. So about halfway through our cuttings, he'd go over and pick the biscuits up, and we'd all take a break and have those biscuits.
Well, I never got a biscuit because I always came in a little bit later in the morning, and they would never save me one because I didn't come in early. It only was for the early people that came in.
Back in the earlier days, we grew our own poinsettias, but we were doing a lot of wholesale to different businesses in those days and whatever. We traveled all over North Carolina delivering poinsettias wholesale back in those days, and we eventually found out that we could sell poinsettias here on the property, so we went into a retail business, and we sell lots of poinsettias here to our retail customers.
We used to grow, I think, probably around 35,000 plants. Now we're around more like 10,000. It's a lot easier in a way to grow less, of course.
We also have fundraisers that buy poinsettias from us that we deliver, and they sell to their customers, church groups, people who are trying to make funds for their clubs and churches and different organizations.
Poinsettias are what we're mainly growing now. We grow 2 plants in the fall. Pea plants is what I call them, poinsettias and pansies. I love pansies, poinsettias not so much. These are actually not the blooms, they're the bracts. The blooms are really tiny in there, and the plant evolved to have nice big bracts to get insects to come into those little tiny blooms. They come in hundreds of, well, probably 200, around 200 different varieties or cultivars. Right in front of us is one called Winter Rose, and it does look like a rose. It took this one around 30 some years to get developed to where it would be a marketable plant. All the varieties you see are patented. We do have to pay royalties on them. The reason being is because they have to do so much research and development into getting them to that point. Right now, they're still turning, and they're very early this year. They're about 2 weeks early, but they're also weather dependent. We're actually farmers for sure, because even though we farm inside, we're weather dependent. We've had nice, bright, a beautiful fall, nice warm weather, so they're coming along nicely. If we had cold, damp days, it would be a different story, and it would be a lot harder. When they get ready, and when they're already developed and turn like this, it's hard to keep them nicely. They always say a greenhouse is a great place to grow them, but a hard place to keep them. But we do keep them up until close to right before Christmas, because it's denominational. Churches, they're different denominations like their poinsettias at different times. Baptists and Methodists like them early. Presbyterians in the middle usually, and some Methodists. And then Catholics and Episcopalians like theirs right at Christmas. And it's wonderful for us because we also have different stages of varieties. This one looks totally different. This is Prestige Red, and this is Early Orion. This one will be just as pretty by the time it's ready to go, so these would be for later customers. We have some new cultivars we're trying. This is Christmas Princess. Right now it looks really strange. We're hoping it will be very beautiful, and I think it will be, but it's at the stage, what I call the teenage stage now, with braces and acne. It just doesn't look very pretty right now. Some varieties are not very stable. As you can see, this is all on one plant, but there's 2 different colors on it. This is supposed to be Cortez Burgundy, which is a burgundy color. It obviously evidently came from red, and sometimes they are not true to their variety. We had to quit growing a variety called Ice Punch last year because it kept reverting back to the original, which was kind of an icky pink. Cortez Burgundy has been particularly bad this year for sporting back, and that's what it's called when it goes back to the original. With the sport though, one of the advantages is oftentimes you can get your new varieties from them. Now, we would not be able to do that. We would have to send it back to the company who breeds it, because we're not licensed to do that. We have to have a license to do that, and that's how they get their royalties. They actually own the breeding rights to that plant.
They have changed abundantly, and over the years, it's just such a drastic change, because we used to have all of our retail in the greenhouses, and people would come in and pick their own poinsettia. You could help them, and they would go pick one that you didn't think they would really have picked, but that was fit their corner. But now we have them, don't have as many as we used to grow because of the economy, but it's easier, maybe easier now, because we have them come in the pot size they should be in, and the way we control the growth and all. It's been a lot of changes, good changes though, always for the best.
I've taken a lot more leadership in poinsettia production after having a couple years in poinsettias. It's a different plant than any other kind of season for us, and so you really have to have a couple years of just kind of following commands before you start to take over with it, and that's really where we've started to transition into it.
I am very proud of this corporation and what it has done. It definitely has been a family operation from beginning to now, and we are now into the third generation. I'm so proud of Susan and Brad and his wife and the job that they are doing here for our company.
I help grow poinsettias. I have had a long history here, and I've really enjoyed my work here.
A little bit of everything, I'll have to say. I used to help spray them, which was kind of nerve-wracking, and I've treated them with Osmocote. I've helped to thin them out, thin the brackets out, and put the racks on them. We planted them in different size pots. I've had to help with the watering. That is of very vital importance to do daily. Whatever I was told to do, I'm kind of like a gopher with them. In the past, I've helped unload the trucks, but I'm getting a little bit up in years, as you can see, and so I don't have that duty anymore, but I do put them on tubes and spread them accordingly to the sizes and group them with the colors and varieties that they bring.
I've pretty much done every job from delivery driver, cleaner, packer. There's nothing that we really don't do hands-on here. It's wonderful.
My main job is to water and fertilize the poinsettias every day so they grow big and strong for all y'all to enjoy this holiday season.
We hope you've learned a lot about how we're growing poinsettias, and hope you'll come and see us at Fairview. It really is pretty in here at Christmas, and I think you will really enjoy it. Thank you so much.